Hey everybody, Mike here, going to do an overview of using Opus Clip to take a long form video and do some quick editing. So this video is of an interview with an employee about their experience at our advertising agency, advertising report card, and I want to make a bunch of different clips to put out for our recruiting efforts so that people can get an idea of who we are before they join our team, and also for branding, just so people can hear some of the conversations that we have and get to know the people behind the business. So with that being said, it was just a Zoom recording for 30 minutes, and looks like this cut a 47-second video here, right? First thing you want to know is that the text is how you control this. You can also move the time of the video here, but you can use it by text so you can fine-tune things. Next, when you click on any of the text, there's a few things that you can do. One is you can correct the caption. You can add an emoji that ties into that, which is always good to draw emphasis. You can change the highlight colors, and also you can change where the video starts and stops, when you can set this word as the start and set this word at the end. You'll see words that are active versus not. These words that are crossed out are not a part of the clip. They have been automatically edited out. So if you actually wanted to start back here, you could set that as the start, and it'll edit the video's length and change to that extent. Now you can use this just like Word Doc when it comes to the Control Z, because if I hit Control Z, it's going to undo that edit. So it's very easy to, if you make some mistakes or you don't like the edit, to undo the work very quickly. Same thing at the bottom, you can extend the video down here as well. Now underneath the design, this is important based off of what kind of video you want to make. As you can see right now, it's portrait. There's also landscape and square, so depending on the format, that's really going to be how you should judge where you want to put the content. As long as the edit itself is within this area and the extension on left and right is just like the full video from the Zoom or whatever call, you could use landscape for all versions, because when you upload it to TikTok, you can just crop out the area that you want to show, and with square it's the same thing. Just really depends on the video though. So play around with these to understand the layout settings. Layout preference, there's auto, fill, fit, split, and you can make multiple grids as well. One thing that's a little bit limited here as far as what you can do with one frame versus the other, these are both going to be fill. If you select fill, you can't make this change throughout the video. You pretty much just have to, I would recommend going with auto just to keep it simple, because it'll flip back and forth between the two people talking. But if you want to have the one person listening and the one person talking, you can then do the split. Sometimes it's a little laggy, so I'm going to go back to fill and hopefully not break it. It's not letting me do screen share. Switch back to auto. It can be a little buggy sometimes. That's definitely something to consider here. Looks like it's not going to let me do the other format, which is odd. Probably the video clip that it's editing isn't allowing it. I'm going to save this and jump back in and see if I can get it to work. So just with those edits, it's going to take about 3 minutes to compile that. So that's one thing to notice as well, as when you're doing edits, it takes a while for it to update. So if you try to download this video before it's 100% up to date, you can see the countdown here. You're going to just download the old video. So you have to wait for the edits to completely set in. You'll know when it's ready when these icons return to normal. So I'm going to jump back in and see if I can get that section to work in design. So I switched it to split again, and it's not letting me. So I guess auto is what we're stuck with here. There's different scenarios where you're going to have a different option, and I think that screen sharing on Zoom is one of the things that triggers that. So play around with it. It seems that they're updating this consistently as well, so there's probably going to be changes. So getting used to how these tools work, but you don't have to like go crazy. There's really not that many options. So as far as where you're cropping, you can change the ratio, original ratio versus 1:1, as you can see here based off of this recording on the auto. It's pretty much sticking to the same ratio. So now let's get to one of the funner parts. Generating B-roll with stock and AI is an option. You have to join the wait list for AI. But basically, you can use stock for now, and if you enable that, what it will do is add transitions to different stock images in the video clip. While that's loading, I want to show auto emojis. This will actually automatically add emojis to the caption. It doesn't work very well in my opinion because it only adds maybe one or two and the context isn't always perfect. It's probably a work in progress for them. I recommend manually adding the emojis plus turning on auto emojis because it might do some of the work for you. As far as the B-roll goes, now you can see these little gray bars up here and you can click through them and you're going to know what the B-roll looks like. As you can see here, some of this B-roll isn't going to work because this is a woman in a robe and we're talking about working at an ad agency. We're not that kind of ad agency. So with that being said, let's go ahead and also move to the next section. As far as captions go, you have different styles and different colors and you can fine-tune these below. So you can really modify your caption across the entire video. One of the benefits of not being able to switch every clip is in some video editors, when you edit a clip, you can't get the next clip to take on that edit. So that's one thing I do find beneficial about this is that if it's going to force you across to do something, at least there is like some kind of perk to that, perceived. I know I like to have control over every aspect of a design, but this is fine. So next you have the ability to do captions on 3 lines or 1 line per page. I like to have them stacked. I don't like to have just 1 line because I feel like sometimes it moves too fast on the transition. So I like 3 lines. Also, you have all these different types of transitions, like underlining. You can see here.
I think the amount of clients that
it underlines the words. There's box.
That you have, the expertise that you have,
which reads along with the color.
And the budget.
This is a caption popping out. Not a huge fan of that one.
Budget that I would manage.
If we could switch between the different transitions, there'd be a little bit more option.
A lot of
scale doesn't seem very ideal.
You know,
slide left, slide up. So there are some pretty clean transitions. I like this specific one, so I'm going to leave it as is. You can move the caption position, but you can't drag and drop it, which is a little odd, but sometimes you want to drag and drop it, but you can't. That's not an option. So once you do all the edits that you want, you can go back into here. One thing, as far as like changing emojis, if an emoji gets added, you can just click on the emoji and change it. Now let's say that there are pieces in here. Like let me go find a pause real fast.
That you have, a lot of knowledge on the field, you know.
So let's look at this real fast. See these sections here? I'll get out of the B-roll. A lot of right here. This is where he's talking about. Give me a lot of... See this content right here? You can remove this in the middle of it, and what'll happen is it'll actually skip to the next section of the edit.
A lot of knowledge on the field.
So we can get rid of this emoji because it doesn't make any sense.
A lot of
looks like this a lot of here is before he said right? So let's go ahead and undo that. I'm still going to delete this emoji, and I'm going to get rid of these words here. I'm going to click on and then hold shift and hit of to highlight all of them, just like in Word Editor, and I'm going to delete that.
A lot of
we still have to get rid of the of. Let's try to get rid of A and see if it clips it properly. As you can see, it seems kind of skippy right now, right?
A lot of knowledge on the field, you know.
It seems like this entire section could go, right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete this entire section.
Knowledge on the field.
So there's a clear gap here that the text editor isn't working.
So this would give me knowledge on the field.
So this section I'm pretty confident in deleting. But now we still have a little bit of a weirdness on this. This whole section seems pretty jumpy. So I'm going to pause it here with the space bar. And you can hit delete, or you got to hit trim first to split the clip. And then you'll see this little square here. You can just delete that or hit delete on your keyboard. Let's take a look now.
So this would give me a knowledge on the field, you know, a lot of expertise. So I could like get your point of view on how to manage Google Ads that I didn't have, and this would like make me a.
See this gap right here? We can trim that too. You don't have to get too crazy with all the gaps. You just want to, you know, not prolong with huge long silences. It's best to skip because people lose interest fast.
View on how to manage Google Ads that I didn't have, and this would like.
See, that's a pretty clean transition.
This made me a better professional.
So now let's say we want to change one of these images. This is for task management. You can go to the search bar. I'm going to type in Google Ads and see what pops up, because that's what we're talking about. Well, some of these look better than others, I would imagine. We have the Google here. We have Google here. Let's go ahead and pick that one and see what it looks like. Like an animation. Okay, so now let's take a look by going back to the player and hitting play.
On how to manage Google Ads that I didn't have, and this would like make me a better professional.
Perfect.
This made me a better professional.
And then we can select this. I'm gonna click out, click back in. Looks like it's having some issues. Let's save and compile, and then try to jump back in and edit this so that Felipe isn't replaced by a woman at the spa. All right, we're back, and we're trying to edit this stock photo. Got it. Worked this time. Success. Let's see what success looks like. Well, I'm trying to find I have a
This made me.
That's definitely not going to be it. Some of the problems with this is that it doesn't. Some of the stuff that it gives you, it doesn't always work. You have to kind of go through, just like any other stock photo scenario, though.
This made me a better professional. That's for sure.
So, I like that one. That'll do. So save and compile. So now basically what I have is a video that is ready for Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories, TikTok, Facebook Stories, but it's vertical. So what are you going to do about having to create the other version of it, right? So far, you really can't duplicate the video cuts that they do. I think that's another big missed opportunity here. It's just duplicating the edit so you can re-edit the same edit in a few different ways. But in that instance, what you'd want to do is download. And if you want to edit the clip and go back to design, that's where you can decide if you want to do square or landscape. So let's say I want to do square in this instance. Is it going to give me any of these other options to change the format? Nope, still only one video. But in this instance, with the captions, 1 line versus 3 lines makes sense because the screen is bigger, right? Only problem is with that is if you wanted to export this and use this same video for both the vertical.
What initially drew you to?
Looks like it's processing the 3 lines request. Or it's just automatically extending them. So that's actually an issue. Let's go ahead and show what that means again. As far as portrait goes, the text is more condensed. So the text would be cut off if you tried to bring this into TikTok. So, all things to consider. Is this the perfect program to do everything for you automatically? If you're not concerned about quality and you don't concerned about like the individual things, like for instance, like having like a random child in your video or having the text get kind of cut up when you're editing, it's amazing. I would highly recommend using this. I'm a big supporter of this effort to make what otherwise would take hours take minutes. And I'm also kind of a perfectionist, so like me trying to go through and get this done is also just something that I would do. Not everyone has to get a good experience out of Opus. Highly recommend it. It's not perfect. There are some bugs. You have to resave it every now and again or kick back out. But this video basically in itself is kind of a guide on how to use Opus. The only thing I didn't get into on this is the social media publisher, but I'm not using Opus for that, so not a thing yet. But I'll make another video if people are interested in it. If you like this, please subscribe and like the channel. I'm going to be posting a lot of different types of guides for different pieces of software. And also drop a comment if you like this video. I think it should be helpful for anyone just getting on to Opus AI.